There's a word you're probably using every single day that's destroying your peace of mind. You don't even notice you're saying it. It hides in your thoughts, quiet as a mouse, but deadly as a snake. That word? Must. I must succeed. People must treat me fairly. Life must be easier. Every time you think that way, you're setting yourself up for misery. Let me prove it to you right now, and then show you what to do instead. Look, I'm not here to make you feel good with positive affirmations and happy thoughts. That stuff? It's like putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg. What you're getting in this video is something different, something that actually works. Here's what's happening to you right now, and you might not even realize it. You're walking around with a bunch of beliefs that are making you anxious, depressed, and angry. And the worst part? You think those beliefs are helping you. You think that demanding perfection keeps you motivated. You think that catastrophizing prepares you for the worst. You think that blaming others protects you from pain. Wrong, wrong, wrong. What you're about to learn is what I call rational emotive behavior therapy, but forget the fancy name. Here's what it really is. It's the skill of catching yourself in the act of making yourself miserable and choosing something different. By the end of this video, you're going to be able to spot the exact thoughts that create your emotional suffering, understand why your brain defaults to these destructive patterns, learn a simple process to challenge and change these thoughts, and walk away with practical tools you can use today to feel better. This isn't theory. I've used this with everyone from executives to prison inmates. It works, but only if you're willing to question some things you've believed your whole life. You ready? Let's do this. Most people live their entire lives thinking something bad happened, therefore I feel bad. Seems logical, right? Wrong. There's a missing piece that changes everything. I call it the ABC model, and once you get this, you can never unsee it. A is the activating event, the thing that happened. Your boss criticized you. Your partner forgot your birthday. You got rejected. C is the consequence, how you feel and what you do. You feel devastated. You rage. You give up. Now, here's what everyone gets wrong. They think it causes C. They think the event makes them feel bad. But there's a B in the middle that changes everything. B is your belief, what you tell yourself about what happened. Your boss criticized you. That's A. You feel worthless. That's C. But it's not the criticism that made you feel worthless. It's what you told yourself. I must be perfect. If I make mistakes, it proves I'm incompetent. I should be better than this. This is awful. That's B. And B is what actually creates C. Watch what happens when we change B. Same criticism, different belief. Well, that's disappointing. I prefer to do better, but I'm human. I'll learn from this and move on. Now how do you feel? Disappointed maybe, but not devastated. Same A, different B, totally different C. Let me break this down even more because this is crucial. Every time you turn a preference into a demand, you're setting up suffering. I like respect versus I must have respect. One keeps you sane, the other makes you crazy. Think about someone stuck in traffic who makes themselves enraged versus someone who's merely annoyed. What's the difference? Not the traffic. The traffic is the same for both people. The difference is what they're telling themselves about the traffic. The enraged person is thinking this must not be happening. Traffic should flow smoothly. I can't stand this. This is unbearable. The annoyed person is thinking, well, this is frustrating. I don't like it, but it's just traffic. I'll deal with it. See the difference? And here's another thing. Think about it. Same event happens to two people, two completely different reactions. One person gets fired, thinks I'm worthless. Another thinks good, that job sucked anyway. The event didn't change. The belief did. Events don't have built-in emotions attached to them. You attach the emotions through your beliefs. This is actually good news. Because if your beliefs create your feelings, you can change your beliefs and change your feelings. You're not at the mercy of the world. You're at the mercy of your thoughts about the world. That puts you back in the driver's seat. Now you might say, Ellis, some things are objectively bad. Sure, death, disease, disaster, these are bad. But there's bad, and there's making it worse. Your thoughts can take bad and turn it into catastrophic, unbearable, world-ending. And that's the part you control. Think of it like rain. Rain doesn't care about your picnic. Rain is just rain. But you can stand there screaming IT must not rain, making yourself furious. Or you can say, well, this stinks, let's adapt and move on. Same rain, different experience. The rain didn't create your fury. Your demand that it not rain created your fury. Okay, so you're starting to see that your beliefs create your feelings. But here's the thing, not all beliefs are created equal. There are 3 specific irrational beliefs that cause about 90% of human misery. And I guarantee you're carrying at least one of them around right now. Let's dig into them. After working with thousands of people, I found that almost all emotional disturbance comes from 3 core irrational beliefs. These are like viruses in your mental operating system. And chances are, you've got all 3 running in the background right now. Irrational belief number 1. I must perform well and be approved of, or else I'm worthless. This is the achievement and approval addiction. You walk around thinking I must succeed, I must be liked. If I fail or get rejected, it proves I'm no good. This belief creates anxiety before performances and depression after failures. Reality check. You're not worthless if you fail. You're a fallible human who failed at something. Big difference. You don't need everyone's approval. You want it, sure, but you don't need it to survive or be happy. I've seen so many people destroy themselves with this belief. Brilliant, capable people who think that unless they perform perfectly and everyone approves of them, they're garbage. It's nonsense. Complete nonsense. But they believe it so deeply they can't see how irrational it is. Irrational belief number 2. Others must treat me fairly and kindly, or else they're horrible and deserve punishment. This is the anger and resentment generator. Someone cuts you off in traffic, treats you rudely, breaks a promise, and you think they should know better. They must treat me right. They're terrible for doing this. Here's the truth bomb. People don't have to treat you any particular way. It would be nice if they did. It would be preferable, but there's no cosmic law requiring it. When you demand that others behave certain ways, you're setting yourself up for constant rage. Think about it. You're essentially telling the universe how other people must behave. And then when they don't, because they're human beings with their own issues and problems and bad days, you make yourself furious. You're the one suffering, not them. Your anger isn't punishing them. It's punishing you. Irrational belief number 3. Conditions must be comfortable and life must be easy, or else it's awful and I can't stand it. This is the frustration and avoidance creator. Traffic, long lines, uncomfortable situations, hard work, anything difficult makes you think this shouldn't be happening. This is terrible. I can't stand this. Wake-up call. Life is often uncomfortable and difficult. That's not awful. That's just inconvenient. You can stand it. You don't like it, but you can handle it. Every time you tell yourself you can't stand something you're standing, you're lying to yourself. I had a client once, successful guy, miserable as hell. Why? Because he demanded perfection from himself, respect from everyone, and ease in everything. I asked him, how's that working for you? He said, terribly. I said, then maybe stop demanding things the universe isn't required to give you. Change his life. Change how he felt every single day. Now, how do you spot these beliefs in real time? Listen for the words. Must, should, ought, need, can't stand, awful, terrible. These words are red flags. When you catch yourself thinking them, you found your irrational belief. Quick exercise. Think about the last time you were really upset. What were you demanding? What must were you imposing? Really think about it. I bet if you're honest, you'll find one of these 3 beliefs hiding in there. And here's why these beliefs feel so true. They feel right because you've practiced them your whole life. Your parents taught you them. Society reinforces them. But just because something feels true doesn't make it true. Lots of things feel true that are complete nonsense. Let me tell you what these beliefs cost you emotionally. Belief number 1 creates anxiety and depression. Belief number 2 creates anger and resentment. Belief number 3 creates frustration and avoidance. Together, they create a life of chronic emotional suffering. Is that what you want? Now imagine this. Imagine going through life preferring things but not demanding them. Wanting approval but not needing it. Hoping for fairness but not requiring it. Liking comfort but not insisting on it. That's freedom. That's peace. That's what's possible when you give up these irrational demands. Now I know what you're thinking. Okay, Ellis, I see these beliefs are irrational, but I believe them my whole life. How do I actually change them? That's exactly what we're covering next. I'm going to give you a process that works if you actually use it. It's not complicated, but it does require practice. Let me show you. All right, here's where we get practical. I'm going to teach you what I call disputation, actively arguing against your own irrational beliefs. This is the skill that changes everything. Most people try to change how they feel by thinking positive thoughts. I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. That's like trying to fix a broken leg by telling it to feel better. It doesn't work because you haven't addressed the underlying irrational belief. Disputation works differently. You find the irrational belief, and you attack it with questions and logic until it crumbles. Here's the process. Step 1. Detect the activating event and your consequence. What happened? How did you feel? What did you do? Example. I gave a presentation. That's A. And I felt anxious and inadequate. That's C. Step 2. Discover your belief. What were you telling yourself? What demands were you making? Example. I must perform perfectly. If I make any mistakes, it proves I'm incompetent. People must think highly of me. Step 3. Dispute the irrational belief. This is where the magic happens. You challenge the belief with tough questions. Where's the evidence this must be true? Where's it written that I must be perfect? If I make mistakes, does that really prove I'm totally incompetent or just that I'm human? Do I have evidence that making mistakes makes someone worthless? Would I think that about others? What's the worst that could actually happen? And could I handle it? Is it uncomfortable or is it unbearable? Because if I'm standing here thinking about it, I'm clearly bearing it. You see what I'm doing here? I'm not accepting the irrational belief at face value. I'm questioning it. I'm demanding evidence. I'm exposing the flaws in the logic. And most irrational beliefs collapse under this kind of scrutiny. Step 4. Develop an effective new belief. Create a rational alternative that's actually true. I prefer to perform well, but I don't have to be perfect. If I make mistakes, that proves I'm a fallible human trying something difficult. I'd like people's approval, but I don't need it to be okay. I can handle discomfort. Notice the difference in language. Prefer instead of must. Like instead of need. Can handle instead of can't stand. These aren't just word games. They represent fundamentally different ways of thinking about reality. Now, this isn't positive thinking. Positive thinking says everything will be fine. Rational thinking says even if it's not fine, I can handle it. One is fantasy. The other is reality-based strength. Which one do you think lasts? The evidence question is absolutely key here. Most irrational beliefs collapse under the simple question, where's the evidence? You must be approved of? Show me the law of the universe requiring that. You can't stand discomfort, but you're standing it right now. Evidence destroys irrational beliefs like sunlight destroys vampires. Let me give you some common disputations you'll use constantly. Where is it written? This exposes the arbitrary nature of your demands. Does this follow logically? This reveals the leaps in reasoning. What's the actual probability? This combats catastrophizing. Could I stand it if it happened? This reveals your true resilience. Here's the deal. This works, but only if you practice. Your irrational beliefs have years of practice. Your rational alternatives are brand new. You need to dispute actively, forcefully, repeatedly. Think of it like building a muscle. One workout doesn't cut it. I had a patient who was terrified of rejection. Every time she thought about asking someone out, she'd think I can't stand rejection. It would be awful. We practiced disputation. Have you been rejected before? Yes. Did you stand it? Obviously, I'm here. So you can stand it. What do you mean is you don't like it? That realization changed her dating life. She asked people out, got rejected sometimes, felt disappointed, but not devastated. Why? She changed her belief from I can't stand it to I don't like it, but I can handle it. Right now, I want you to try this. Think of something that's been bothering you. Got it? Now ask yourself, what am I demanding here? What's my must? Now dispute it. Where's the evidence this must be true? What would be more rational to believe? This is how change happens. Not by wishing, not by hoping, by actively challenging your irrational thoughts and replacing them with rational ones. Now, here's something important. A lot of people hear this and think, so I should just not care about anything? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. There's a huge difference between healthy negative feelings and unhealthy ones. And if you don't understand that difference, you'll think I'm asking you to become a robot. So let's clear that up right now. Let me be crystal clear about something. I'm not telling you to never feel bad. Bad things happen. You should feel bad about them. What I'm saying is there's a difference between healthy negative feelings and unhealthy negative feelings. Let me break this down. Healthy negative feelings come from preferences not being met. They're uncomfortable, but not debilitating. They motivate change without overwhelming you. Concern, not anxiety. I have a challenge ahead. I prefer to succeed. Let me prepare. Sadness, not depression. I lost something important. I feel sad. I'll grieve and move forward. Annoyance, not rage. This situation is frustrating. I don't like it. I'll deal with it. Regret, not guilt or shame. I made a mistake. That's unfortunate. I'll learn and do better. Disappointment, not devastation. Things didn't go as I hoped. That stinks. Life continues. Unhealthy negative feelings come from demands not being met. They're overwhelming and paralyzing. They make problems worse, not better. Anxiety. I must succeed or I'm worthless. What if I fail? I can't stand the uncertainty. Depression. I failed, which proves I'm no good. Life shouldn't be this hard. I can't bear this. Rage. They must treat me fairly. They should know better. They're horrible for doing this. Guilt and shame. I must be perfect. I shouldn't make mistakes. I'm a terrible person for messing up. Devastation. This shouldn't have happened. It's awful. My life is ruined. See the difference? Same situations. Completely different emotional responses. One set helps you cope. The other set destroys you. Listen to your self-talk. That's how you know which one you're experiencing. Healthy language sounds like I prefer, I wish, I'd like. That's unfortunate. Unhealthy language sounds like I must, I should, I need, I can't stand, it's awful, it's terrible. The words reveal the belief underneath. And here's why healthy emotions are actually more effective. Concern motivates you to prepare. Anxiety paralyzes you. Sadness helps you process loss. Depression makes you give up. Annoyance prompts you to problem solve. Rage makes you do stupid things you regret. Healthy emotions work. Unhealthy ones don't. Some people think if I don't get anxious about my presentation, I won't do well. Nonsense. You can be concerned about doing well without being anxious. Concern gets you to practice. Anxiety makes you want to hide. Which one helps you perform better? Here's another clue. If your emotional response is way out of proportion to the situation, that's your signal you're in unhealthy territory. Mild disappointment about a parking ticket, healthy. Rage and thoughts of this is unbearable, unhealthy. The situation doesn't change. Your demand does. Think of it like physical pain. Touch a hot stove, feel pain, pull your hand back. That's healthy pain protecting you. But phantom pain, pain with no source, pain that doesn't serve any protective function, that's unhealthy pain that just makes you suffer. Same with emotions. Sadness about loss, healthy. Depression about loss, because it must not happen, unhealthy. Let me give you a real-world example. Two people get laid off. Person A says this is disappointing. I'm sad about losing this job and concerned about finding a new one. It'll be challenging, but I'll handle it. Person B says this is awful. I can't stand being unemployed. This shouldn't happen to me. I'm a failure. Person A feels sad and concerned, but starts job hunting. Person B feels depressed and hopeless and gives up. Same event. Totally different outcomes based on their beliefs. So you're seeing the difference now between healthy and unhealthy negative emotions. But here's what trips people up. They've been practicing these unhealthy patterns for so long that they feel automatic. The irrational thoughts just pop up instantly. So how do you break patterns that feel so automatic? That's what we need to talk about next, because if you don't address this, you'll keep falling back into old habits. Here's why changing your thinking is hard. Your brain has practiced these irrational beliefs thousands of times. They've become automatic. You don't even notice you're doing it anymore. Someone criticizes you? Boom. Instant I'm worthless thought. Don't even have to think about it. Traffic jam? Boom. Instant, this is unbearable reaction. Automatic. Friend doesn't text back? Boom. Instant, they must not like me conclusion. No conscious thought required. Your brain has built neural highways for these thoughts. They're the path of least resistance. And your brain loves the path of least resistance. But here's the good news. The same brain that learned these patterns can learn new patterns. It just takes deliberate, repeated practice. Think of it like this. You've been driving to work the same way for 10 years. That route is automatic. Now imagine there's a better route, but it requires you to consciously think about every turn for a while. Eventually, the new route becomes automatic too. Same with thinking patterns. The process works like this. Step 1. Awareness. You can't change what you don't notice. Start catching yourself in the act. Oh, there's an "I must be perfect" thought again. Just notice it. Don't judge it. Don't fight it yet. Just see it. Step 2. Interruption. When you catch an irrational thought, interrupt the pattern. Some people say stop out loud if they're alone. Some snap a rubber band on their wrist. Some just pause and breathe. The goal is to break the automatic flow. Step 3. Substitution. Replace the irrational thought with a rational one. Don't just try to not think the bad thought. That doesn't work. Replace it with an alternative. "I must be perfect" becomes "I prefer to do well," but perfection isn't required. Step 4. Repetition. This is the key most people miss. Once isn't enough. Twice isn't enough. You need to catch and correct these thoughts dozens of times before the new pattern becomes automatic. Think of it as reps at the gym. A lot of people think, "Oh, I see my irrational belief now. I'm cured." Nope. Insight without action is just interesting information. You have to actively dispute and replace those thoughts again and again and again. When you're learning this, write it out. ABC sheet. A. What happened? B. What you told yourself. C. How you felt. Then dispute B and write a rational alternative. Writing forces you to slow down and really examine your thinking instead of letting it run on autopilot. Your brain will fight this. It'll say, "But I should be perfect. But they must treat me fairly." That's just your old programming resisting change. Don't believe everything you think. Question it. Challenge it. Refuse to accept it just because it popped into your head. The timeline is different for everyone. Some people get this quickly. Others take months. Doesn't matter. What matters is you keep practicing. Every time you catch and correct an irrational thought, you're rewiring your brain. Every single time. I worked with a guy who'd get enraged in traffic. Every single day. We identified his belief. Traffic must flow smoothly. People must drive properly. This is unbearable. We practiced disputation for weeks. He'd catch himself getting angry, pause, and think this is frustrating, not unbearable. People drive poorly sometimes. I don't like it, but I can handle it. First week, still got angry, but caught himself faster. Second week, anger was less intense. Month later, he was annoyed, but not enraged. 6 months later, traffic barely bothered him. Same traffic, different brain. Let me give you some practical tips. Start with one pattern. Don't try to fix all your thinking at once. Pick your biggest problem, maybe anxiety about performance or anger at others. Focus on disputing that one pattern until it becomes easier. Practice when you're calm. Don't wait for crisis moments. Practice disputing common thoughts when you're relaxed. Build the skill when the stakes are low, so it's available when you really need it. Celebrate small wins. Caught yourself thinking irrationally and corrected it? That's progress. Noticed it even if you didn't correct it yet? That's progress too. This isn't all or nothing. Look, we've covered a lot here. You've learned why your thoughts create your feelings. You've seen the 3 core irrational beliefs causing most of your suffering. You've learned how to dispute them and create healthier alternatives. You understand why it feels automatic and how to change the patterns. Now, let me bring this all together and give you something you can walk away with today. Okay, let's bring this home. If you remember nothing else from this video, remember this. You're not disturbed by things. You're disturbed by your view of things. Someone can insult you, reject you, disappoint you, and you have a choice in how you respond. Not by pretending it doesn't matter. Not by positive thinking your way into delusion. but by examining what you're demanding and asking yourself if that demand is rational. Here's what we covered. The ABC model. Events don't cause feelings. Your beliefs about events cause feelings. A leads to B leads to C. Change B, change C. The 3 irrational beliefs. I must perform well and be approved of. Others must treat me fairly. Life must be easy and comfortable. These demands create anxiety, anger, and frustration. Turn them into preferences and watch your emotional life transform. The disputation process. Detect, discover, dispute, develop. Find the irrational belief. Challenge it with evidence and logic. Replace it with something rational and true. Healthy versus unhealthy emotions. You're allowed to feel sad, concerned, annoyed, and disappointed. Those are healthy. What's unhealthy is depression, anxiety, rage, and devastation. Those come from your demands, not reality. Breaking automatic patterns. Your brain defaults to irrational thinking because that's what's practiced. Build new pathways through awareness, interruption, substitution, and repetition. Now here's my challenge to you. Take one irrational belief you noticed in yourself during this video. Just one. And for the next week, every time you catch yourself thinking it, dispute it, question it, replace it. Not because I said so, because you deserve to suffer less. You're not broken. You're not damaged. You're just using thinking patterns that don't work. And thinking patterns can be changed. I spent 50 years proving this works. Not with theory, with real people facing real problems. And it worked for them. It'll work for you too, if you actually do it. Don't just watch this video and forget about it. Apply it. Practice it. Use it. Because the difference between people who stay miserable in 2026 and people who find peace, it's not their circumstances. It's not their luck. It's their willingness to question their own thoughts and build better ones. You've got the tools now. Use them. Before you go, I want to tell you about something most people get completely wrong about emotions, especially anger. You think anger protects you. You think it motivates you. You think if you don't get angry, people will walk all over you. What if I told you that's completely backwards? That anger is actually making you weaker, not stronger. That it's destroying your relationships, your health, and your ability to solve problems. In my next video, I'm breaking down exactly why anger is one of the most irrational, self-defeating emotions humans experience, and how to feel appropriately annoyed and assertive without the rage that's burning up your life from the inside. If you've ever thought I have an anger problem, or I get too mad too easily, or even I should be more angry about how I'm treated, you need to watch that next. Click on that video right now, because if you think anger is serving you, you're dead wrong. And I'm going to prove it. See you there.